Hello, I am Victoria Seed and I am coming to you for this 10 at 11 session from Manchester, the Vesta approach in the UK. I help families who are affected by a loved one's drug or alcohol use to reduce their stress and live a better life. And I do this by teaching effective strategies to cope. I can help you too. I have one-to-one support, I have group work support, and I also have a membership. If you're watching, let me know in the comments. Professionals, if you're watching as well, feel free to share in your networks. Drop me a message if you don't feel comfortable commenting, whether you're a family member, an individual, or a professional, and I will be happy to help in any way. Just before I make a start, if you want to get my top 10 tips to family recovery, please head over to this link, vestaapproach.co.uk/freebie, and you can get my top 10 tips straight into your inbox with a handy checklist and a brilliant list of really useful organizations in the UK. If you're not in the UK, it's still going to be useful for you. So get that now straight into your inbox. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We're talking about the language of recovery and why it matters. So this month, if you didn't know already, is Recovery Month. Every year we celebrate recovery. It's an annual celebration. Recovery, remembrance, change, and collaboration. And this year's theme is recovery for everyone, every person, every family, and every community. And if you want to find out more, just search hashtag Recovery Month and you will find lots of brilliant information, advice, services, support. Go and check it out. And that is for individuals and family members as well. All right, so let's get started then. So far this month, what we've covered is what is recovery and pathways to family recovery as well. So if you haven't checked those other videos out, go back and have a look at them because they are really good and really informative. So please go and have a see. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on my Facebook page, follow my page. If you're on LinkedIn, you're already following me, so great. All right then. So what you might have noticed then is that recovery is an individual and unique journey. There are so many pathways to recovery to suit every individual and family need. It is all about choice. My service might not quite be right for you, but I offer free consultation so we can have a chat about that. And if it isn't quite right, I have lots and lots of people in my networks that I can advise you and refer you into as well. So why is language important then? Well, the thing is, we already avoid using discriminatory language about particular vulnerable groups, don't we? So here in the UK, we have got the Equality Act. And in that act, we are advised, told really, that we cannot discriminate against certain groups, such as people with disability, people of colour, transgender groups, lots and lots of different groups, people because of their age, right? So why is it any different for people who use substances or people that live with somebody that uses substances? In my opinion, it really isn't. And the language we use has connotations and associations that can strengthen the negative perceptions of certain groups. And I got that line from my husband, who is an English language teacher. So the language we use has connotations and associations that can strengthen negative perceptions of certain groups. So there's certain language about people who use drugs that causes pain in a wider context. So just think about this for a moment. Imagine that you are a person that uses substances, if you are not already, and you hear some of these terms referred to you or referred to other people that use drugs or alcohol. Junkie, crackhead, addict, clean, dirty, drug abuser, substance misuse. So did any of those stand out for you? Did any of those strike or invoke any particular feelings? Because for me, as a professional person that has some credible lived experience as well, I don't like any of those terms. Okay? So how did it make you feel? Which of those terms might you have issue with? And perhaps you as an individual, you feel comfortable with certain terms to label yourself. But what would happen if the next person found it demoralizing? So, for example, within the 12 steps communities, people refer to themselves as addicts, right? But labeling somebody else as an addict might not be comfortable for that person. Labeling somebody by their behavior, in my opinion, we shouldn't be doing at all, because people are not their behavior. That is not their identity, right? Okay, something to think about there. So what's the impact then? Like I've already said, using these labels, focus on the behavior and not the person. A person is much, much more than their behavior. So why are we even using those labels? You know, rightly or wrongly, some people get labels and diagnoses of certain things, including, you know, dependency, substance use disorder, whatever it is where you are. And that can be really comforting to people that have struggled for a long time. But why are we just labeling anyway, other than that? Like, why do we feel comfortable kind of representing ourselves as a label? It's just, you know, each to their own, but you've got to think about the surrounding stigma of that and how it might affect the general population of people who use substances. People can feel stigmatized, people can feel discriminated against. And language can contribute to people not reaching out for the help they need. And that can work in two ways. I've done this work for a long, long time. So you might get people who feel stigmatized because of the labels, like of an addict or whatever, and they don't feel, or some of the other words that I've already said that I'm not going to repeat because I don't feel comfortable saying them. But other people might not identify with certain words. So I usually refer to people who have problems with drugs and alcohol, or people who use drugs and alcohol. I avoid the misuse label, even though I've been a substance misuse worker in the past, right? We're talking about people who use drugs or alcohol and experience problems. It's not just about addicts or people, you know, whatever that means to us. It's people who are experiencing problems, all right? So language can put people off from actually realizing they need to get help, as well as putting them off from accessing the help because they don't like the label. Language alone can form false beliefs about a person or a group of people, and we shouldn't be attributing labels to other people, even if we are comfortable with them ourselves. Okay, so what language should we be using? Now, I am going to just find something for you, because I'm just going to see if this works. Hang on. I'm just going to find this for you. Here we go. Right. Can you see that? So I'll just go through this. So the Global Commission on Drug Policy drew up a checklist of what language should and should not be used. And this report was called the World Drug Problem 2017 report, Countering Prejudices About People Who Use Drugs. So take a look at that, because obviously, some of this is probably outdated now, but I liked this. I remember seeing this a few years ago. So what they talk a lot about, it's well worth a read, this report, by the way. They talk a lot about other things as well, such as, there's only 11.6% of all people that use substances that end up having problematic substance use. And that's really interesting for me, because the stigma that the people who develop the problems experience isn't the same as people who just use drugs without really experiencing any problems. And that's something for us to think about. So the Associated Press Style Book of 2017 put this together as advice for press who are publishing articles about people who use drugs. So you can see here, we're getting told to refer to a person who uses drugs rather than a drug user. A person with non-problematic drug use might be recreational substance users. A person with drug dependence or alcohol dependence instead of an addict. Substance use disorder instead of drug habit disorder. Now, actually, we're kind of advised not to say that. It's problem drug use. Where we refer to people as being clean when actually what's the opposite to that they were dirty before. So we refer to abstinence, and like dirty, somebody that's actively using drugs or that's positive for substance use. And there's lots and lots of other examples there as well. So I just wanted to show you that if you want to get hold of that, have a look at that report. And yeah, I've unshared my screen there. So that's just to give you some examples of some of the recommendations. And I did watch a live session with Donald McDonald on the Recovery Coach Academy's live sessions for Recovery Month last week, and it really was good. And he went into a lot more depth about this topic, and it was really timely because I already had this planned in. So go and have a look at that. So that's all I wanted to say on this issue this week. But we really, really all need, not just professionals, practitioners, recovery coaches, therapists. We all need to be considering the impact of the language we use on others around us. It's not always just about us. I keep my language pretty neutral as a professional. There are many pathways to recovery, and we've just got to make sure that we're not stigmatizing anyone or contributing to people possibly not reaching out for help. And that really in Recovery Month is my message to you all. So again, if you want to get that freebie, head over to vestaapproach.co.uk/freebie and you can get my top 10 tips of family recovery straight into your inbox. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.